Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So in our previous lecture we learned about forms in HTML. So we have so far learned what are forms, how do we use form, what kind of tags do we need to create forms, and how can we use the input tag, and also where we have learned a lot of attributes that are used inside of forms. So today we're going to continue that topic, and now we're going to learn about checkboxes, radio buttons, and also how can we use the input tag to create many more fields inside of forms. We're going to also learn about field set and label today in our lecture. So without any further delay, let's begin. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've already created a new file over here. It is called form.html. It is saved inside of a folder, as you can see, along with the file called thanks.html. So I will link this thanks.html to my form in such a way that when I click submit, it goes to this page. So the first tag that we're going to need is going to be form, and we're going to create some space, as we know. And right now we're going to see how can we use several input elements to make a form. So I'm going to use the first as a name, like a name, and then I'm going to use an input. The type is going to be text, and the name is going to be username. So now I just add some BRs over here, and now I say email, so that the user enters his email. And now I'm going to add another input, and we will also say this is a text, and we can say this is a user email. Let's add some few more BRs over here just for indentation, and now we can ask for a password. And in the password, in the input type, I can write password if I want the bullets to appear instead of the text. So I will write password, and in the name I can just say user password. Then we say BR and add another BR, and now we can add a text area which specifies that enter your details. So for that I only add a text area over here. Let's set the rows to 6 and columns to 40. And if in the placeholder I can write over here enter your details. I'm going to press Ctrl S over here, and now let's just create two buttons, one about reset and one about submit. So I'm going to add a submit and reset button over here. We can give it a value instead of a name over here and say submit. And now we can create another button that is called reset, as this will help us reset our form. I think this is good. So in the form action, I'm going to link my file thanks.html. So in the action, we can link thanks.html. We can set the method to post, and also we can also add over here autocomplete, and I want to turn it off. So let's run this file and see what happens. So as you can see, our form is ready. I only need a few BRs over here. And this is how quickly you can make a form in HTML. So if I try to write something over here, we can write any name we want to. We can write John, and in the email we can write John@XYZ. The password can be anything we want, and in the details we can add anything that we want. So I'm going to try to reset it and see if the reset is working. It works perfectly fine. And now in the name we write John again give it an email, and also I will remove a typo from over here and my placeholder. Perfect. So now if I try to submit, as you can see, it takes us to form, the thanks.html, and says thank you for submitting the form. So this is how easily you can use your input elements to create a very simple form. So now let's see, what if you want to add some checkboxes or some radio buttons into your form? Then how can you do that, and how can you make that happen? So let's see. Okay guys, now that we know how to use text boxes in our HTML file, let's see how can you create some checkboxes. So for that, we use our same input tag, and in the type we include checkbox. But first I'm going to put a heading over here. I will use a h3 and I will say choose a drink. And now beneath this we can create an input. So I'm going to write input. In the type, if we want to create checkboxes, we write checkbox. And in the name, I can give it any name. So I will give this a name of water. And over here, I just write water so that we see something on the screen. So I'm just going to include a single BR this time. And again, an input. Type will be checkbox, and let's give it a name of T. Over here I will include T. Let's add another BR, another input, and now again we will say checkbox. In the name, now we can say coffee, and we can write coffee over here so that we see something on the screen. So as you know, we have two buttons over here, and we have created a checkbox over here. So let's press Ctrl S, and if I refresh, you can see that we have checkboxes over here. We can check either water, either tea, or either coffee, whatever we need. So if we reset, as you can see, everything resets. And also if I try to submit, it takes us to the thank you page. So this is how easily you can create checkboxes in your HTML file. So now let's see, what if you want one of these boxes pre-checked? So for that, all you have to do is write checked in whatever attribute you want to be checked. So right now I want water to be checked. So I added checked inside of water. I press Ctrl S, refresh. As you can see, it automatically checks it. You can also write it, you don't really have to give a value inside of check, so that is why you can also write it like this without equal to and inverted commas. And now if you still try to refresh, you can see it will show you the exact same output. So this is how easily you can use checkboxes in your forms. So guys, the next thing that we want to learn about forms is going to be radio buttons, how to use radio buttons and what are the purpose of radio buttons. So basically we use radio buttons when we want to make the user select only one option, not multiple options. Checkboxes allows the user to select multiple options, but radio buttons have a specific purpose of making the user select one option. So let's see how you can create radio buttons. So for that, I'm going to add a h3 again, and I'm going to write choose one, and over here I will say input, and in the type we write radio. That is for radio buttons. And in the name, I'm going to give it the same name, water, and I will write water over here. Let's give it a BR and add another input like this. And now we can say radio over here. In the name we can say T and write T over here. Let's add BR, a third input, and in the type again radio, and let's give this the name of coffee, and we can write coffee over here so that we see it on the screen. So if I press Ctrl S now and refresh, so guys, you can see we can choose these radio buttons, but for now you will notice that we are able to choose all three. So in order to make these radio buttons select only one at a time, for that what you have to do is add value like this. So I'm going to give all of these values, and I will give them the exact same name. So I'm going to select drink for each of them, just like this. and in the value I will write the names of these things like water, tea, coffee. If I press Ctrl S, refresh it again, as you can see, I can only select one option at a time. I will just correct this. Ctrl S, and it will work the same way. So basically guys, what we did was that we gave them the same name, the same exact name, but different values. This is how you can restrict your radio buttons to be selected one at a time. If I give them different names and no values, you can select multiple options. But if you give them the same name and different values, then you can select multiple options at a time. So now let's see how you can pre-check any one of them. So for that, I'm going to refresh over here, and in the T I will say checked. So if I press Ctrl S and I refresh, as you can see, T is checked now, and I can use it either way. I can remove these equal and inverted commas, press Ctrl S, and when you refresh, as you can see, it works the same way. So this is how easily you can create and use radio buttons in your form. Okay guys, so as you can see, I have created a form over here. It is a very basic form, and now we're going to see how can we add field sets and legends in this form. So basically guys, field sets and legends are used to customize your form, and they're used to make it look good and also to organize the information that is inside of your form. So let's see how can we use it. So for that, I want to add a field set in my form. I add a field set over here right below the form. I'm going to copy the closing tag from here and close it right above a closed form. As you can see, I've already closed it here. I'm going to press Ctrl S, and you can see it has created a border around our form. So this is how you can create sections in your forms to specify various sections and organize various sections inside of your form. So now let's make a field set around name, email, and password. So let's see how can we do that. So for that, I open a field set right above name. I remove this from here and close it right below password. Press Ctrl S, refresh. As you can see, a whole different section has been created for name, email, and password. So now suppose that I want to give this section a title of its own. I want to specify a title. So for that, I'm going to add a legend below field set. So a legend basically gives the title to your sections. So in the legend, I can say personal info. Ctrl S, refresh. As you can see, it kind of embeds into those lines to give it a title. So if you want to make it strong, or if you want to make it bold, you can use the B tag or the strong, whatever you prefer. Close it and open it over here, and as you can see, it has gotten bold now. So let's create another section for choose multiple and choose one. So we're going to add other field sets over here. I'm going to add a field set right below H3. So I'm going to add this field set, remove this from here, and close it after coffee. And now let's add a legend over here. Let's give it a title and specify that choose multiple drinks. Choose multiple drinks. Ctrl S. We're going to include legend over here and close legend over here. Okay, now we're going to press Ctrl S, refresh. As you can see, an other title has appeared. Again, if you want to make it bold, italics, you can always edit it. So now let's see how can we add the same thing to choose one in our radio buttons. So I again open a field set, remove the closing tag from here, and we close it right over here. So in our legend now, we can add choose only one. Control S, and if you refresh it, as you can see, a separate section has been created for choose one, choose multiple, and also our personal information. So this is how easily you can organize your form. This is how easily you can add field sets and legends into your form. Okay guys, so this was all for today. In our today's lecture, we learned about checkboxes in forms, we learned about radio buttons in forms, and also we learned about field sets and legends. In our future videos, we will also see how can you extract the information you have entered in your forms using PHP. So stay tuned guys, and I will see you in the next one.